Nick, I'm an alcoholic.
Nick.
To say this is a privilege is an understatement. This is probably the greatest honor I've had in 42 years on this earth. Andrew and Luke, they reached out to me a couple months ago and said, hey, would you be open to sharing a little bit on leadership in sobriety and what that looks like in your life today, and without hesitation. It was an absolute yes. Tell me when, where, and I'll be there. I don't have PowerPoints, but I do have a printout, so try not to. Say. So a little bit leadership in my life and in my family. When people hear the word leadership, they often think titles, power, or influence. But for me, leadership isn't about a position. It's about responsibility. It's about example. It's about who you choose to be when no one's watching. I was born in Philadelphia to a loving family. Go Birds. Sorry. I had support, and I had people that cared about me. I truly did. But even with that strong foundation, I eventually fell. For a long time, I believed leadership meant being strong on the outside, handling things on my own, not showing weakness. But I've learned something different. Real leadership starts with honesty. I spent nearly 2 decades of my life struggling with drugs and alcohol. What started small, slowly became something that controlled me. Addiction didn't just affect me, it affects the person using. Didn't just affect the person using, It affects the atmosphere in the home, the trust in the marriage, the emotional safety of the children. Even when you think you're hiding it, your family feels it. I wasn't leading, I was surviving. I wasn't setting an example, I was setting a warning. And that realization hurt, but the pain can never bring any of that back. And for me, it was time to wake up. There was a moment right before I got sober. It was a few nights before I went to treatment, and it was. I was standing in one of my kids' rooms. I had 2 beautiful kids, and I was standing over them. It was my daughter's room. My health was deteriorating. Liver was in failure. Signs of wet brain. And I wasn't sure if I'd make it through that night. And I thought about the kind of father I wanted to be. The kind of husband my wife deserves. And I had this heavy realization. If I didn't change, my children would grow up remembering a version of me that I didn't even respect myself. And that moment hit hard, kind of like right now. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't a big speech. It was me just standing there in silence, realizing that love alone wasn't enough. Love without action doesn't lead. The following day, God stepped in, and I suffered an alcohol withdrawal seizure, leading me to 3 days in the hospital. On January 28th, 2024, I walked in Eagle Creek Ranch recovery. There wasn't a weakness. That was leadership in my eyes. For 2 months, I worked harder than I ever had in my life. I worked with therapists. I unpacked years of habits, thinking patterns, emotional responses. I learned tools, real tools, that I can bring back into my everyday life. I learned how to regulate my emotions, communicate instead of shutting down, take accountability without being defensive, and sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't running. Recovery has changed my definition of strength. Strength isn't pretending you're fine. Strength is admitting when you're not. Leadership isn't control, it's consistency. I learned that before I could lead my wife and my 2 beautiful children. I have to lead myself every single day. That means choosing sobriety daily, keeping my word, apologizing when I'm wrong. I look at my wife when I said that. Staying disciplined when nobody's watching. Leadership is not a one-time decision. It's a daily commitment. Being a husband means more than providing financially. It means being present. It means my wife can trust who I am today will be the person I am tomorrow. Listening fully. Being emotionally available. Protecting the peace in our home. And showing up consistently. Trust isn't rebuilt through words. Trust is built through actions. I know my children are watching me. They're watching how I handle stress, how I speak to their mother, how I respond when I'm frustrated, and how I treat myself. Through my actions today, my son will learn how to be the man that I truly want him to be. My daughter will choose a husband that is best for her. Had the only example been the man I was a few years ago, I would have failed him as a father. Today I can proudly say that I'm giving them the best version of myself. That is both a heavy responsibility, but an incredible privilege. If I wanted to grow up strong, emotionally healthy, I have to model it first. Leadership as a father means being patient when I'm tired, being patient when I'm busy, and choosing long-term example over short-term comfort. Sobriety isn't just about me anymore. It's about a fucking legacy. Leadership is not comfortable. It requires facing your flaws, breaking old patterns, doing the hard thing when the easy thing is right there. Don't get me wrong, there's still hard days. But now I have the tools. I have the awareness. I have the accountability. And I have purpose. Leadership today means, again, waking up, choosing sobriety, managing my emotions, communicating clearly, taking responsibility without any excuses, and leading with love instead of ego. It means understanding that my family doesn't need a perfect man. They need a present one. They need a growing one. They need a consistent one. I was born into a loving family in Philadelphia, but now I'm building one. And leadership for me is no longer about the image, it's about integrity. It's about showing my wife, my children, that change is possible, that healing is possible, that growth is possible. I don't lead because I'm perfect. I'm fucking far from perfect. It's about integrity. Sorry. I lead because I'm willing to grow. Every single day, I choose to be the man, the husband, and the father that my family deserves. It took me a little while to find a sponsor in AA. First year recovery, I worked with a few different sponsors, all great men. But this past year, I've been working with somebody, a pillar in the community, I would say. Somebody that is a true leader, somebody that has shown me the way. It's been a monumental year working with this sponsor. I was recently blessed and was asked to sponsor another man in this program.
That's right.
I just want to take just these final moments for what Eagle Creek has meant to me. Luke, Andrew, Kendall, everybody there. I got it tattooed. I got the logo. I got the logo tattooed on my arm. You know what? Their tagline. Their tagline is "Rise Above," and I love that. Rise above. Most of us have been in the dirt. Most of us have been in the rubble. But we're all here. We've all risen above whatever we've gone through. We're here tonight. Again, this is my biggest honor in my life. Greatest privilege. I love these guys. Can't say enough good things about them. Thank you again for asking me. I have lifelong friends here, and that's all I got. God bless.